Hey, Change Agents, and welcome to another episode of Change Agents TV with me, Tracy V. Allen, owner of TVA Consulting, where we help our clients to build and grow profitable, sustainable, and compliant infrastructures so that they can achieve their mission and realize their vision through education, training, and consulting. But most of all, we help our clients to create impact in the communities that they serve. So today we're talking about the curious case of the executive summary. So every time I teach a business planning class, I always get the question as to why is that the first thing that is in the business plan, but the last thing that we're writing? So I like to use the analogy of taking you back to school. So, like when you're in school, your teacher asks you to do a book report. So you have to summarize the book. Can you summarize the book if you've never read the book? Absolutely not. You have to read all the pages of the book, get a gist for the plot and the rising action, the falling action, and the resolution in order to then take all of those components and put it together and summarize what this book is about. You can't summarize a movie unless you've seen the movie. Same thing with the executive summary. It is a summary of the entire business plan. So you cannot write the executive summary if you haven't written all the other components, right? So today we're going to talk about some of the components that the executive summary has in it and how you can utilize it to write a really good executive summary. But before we get started, I am going to be teaching a business plan writing course. I forgot to put the link in here, but I'll come back and put it in the comments section below. If you're interested in taking the course, make sure to come back and look at the comment section for the link to register for that business writing course. Some people are pretty good writers and they can do it on their own, but for those people who struggle to put words together or you don't put them together so well, then you need to get a business plan writer for yourself. But I am going to be teaching that course on how to write your own business plan. If you're interested, please make sure to come back and look at the link in the description so that you can register for that class. Okay, so the first thing is for the executive summary. It summarizes, it describes the products or services that you are going to be offering to the consumer. And it also tells what problem you solve, because every product or service is designed to solve a specific problem. This is summarized in about 3 sentences in your executive summary. Now you have a whole section that's probably 1 to 4 pages long about this particular issue, the products or the services and the problems that you solve. But in the executive summary, you're going to take all of that information and you're going to compress it into about a 3 to 5 sentence summary about what products you offer, what services you offer, and what problems they solve, and how they solve those problems, right? The next thing that you're going to have in your executive summary is your target market. Who are you targeting with these products and services that you offer? Who has the problem that needs to be solved, and how are you going to get to that particular client to help them to solve the problem? So knowing who your target market is, we talked in a previous episode about developing your client avatar. That's your target market. You've done the work, you figured out who needs your products and services, what type of disposable income they have to spend on it, where they work, what their spending habits are, all of that stuff. You already generated all of that information. Now you're going to target them. And in your executive summary, again, you have a long section in the actual business plan about your target market, but in your executive summary, you're going to compress that into another 3 to 5 sentences or more sometimes about who your target audience is and how you're going to reach that target audience. The next thing is your competition. Remember, we have to do a competitive analysis. So you have a section on competitive analysis, but in your summary, you're going to need to compress again all of the information about your competition, who they are, what they're selling, how they're selling it, how they're marketing it, who their clientele is. All of that information in your competitive analysis compressed again in your executive summary. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you why all of this compression is needed, right? And then you have your financial overview. And in the financial overview, it's not what you need, it is what you have already done. So what are your past sales? What are your projected sales, and what are you doing right this minute? And how do they compare to each other? So it's kind of like you're analyzing your business finances. What have you done? How did you do it? What are you doing now? How are you doing it? And how do you project to grow this financial your finances? That is what the financial overview is about. It's a whole complete section again on it. Page, 2 pages, sometimes 3 pages, sometimes even longer, depending on the business. But here you're going to compress it down into about a paragraph, right? And then the next thing that you have is your team. Who's working for you? What qualifies them to do the job that they're doing it? That they're doing. You have a section that has their job description and who they are. You're going to take all that information and you're going to compress it again into the executive summary. And I get questions all the time about how long is this executive summary? Literally can be 1 to 2 pages. I really never suggest that you go over 2 pages with your executive summary because it is supposed to be concise. It's a real overview of what is in the next 40 pages of the business plan. So it's a compression of everything that's written. So if I'm an investor and I'm trying to invest in your business, I expect you to have a strong and compelling and persuasive executive summary so I can read it and make a decision without having to read all the 40 pages. Not that you shouldn't, but it should give me such a clear overview of what your company is, does, and who it does it for, what money it's making, and how much potential income does this company have to make, because you're telling me all about your market size and your market share. So all of this information in the executive summary is fantastic. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of bankers who don't read anything but the executive summary, and then they go to the financial forecast. And that's it, because that's how good your executive summary should be. So the next thing is your financial needs, right? How much money do you need, and why do you need this money in order to continue to make your business grow? So financial need is what you're going to need from, of course, the bank or your investors or venture capitalist, and that should be clearly stated out in the executive summary. In the actual plan itself, you have charts and graphs and Excel spreadsheets that you've done this information for. Now you need to take those numbers and everything that's there and write it into words about why you need this money, how much of the money you need, what you're going to do with the money, so that the person who's investing in your business has a clear understanding of how much money you need and exactly what you're going to do with the money, and how you're going to determine whether the money is actually working for your business. And then what I like to do, especially depending on the type of business it is, and if you are looking for venture capital or you're looking for investors like to know about your exit strategy, because not every business lasts forever. So if something should happen, how are you going to exit this business, especially if it's a partnership business and they're buying into the business? How are you going to sell it? How are you going to use the funds that's left over? How are you going to disperse everything, all of the assets for the business? A lot of investors want to see this, and I literally like to put that portion in there, especially when we're talking about big money. Every business should have an exit strategy to begin with, but if you're really looking for big money from investors, this has to be a component of the executive summary. So that is a curious case of the executive summary and why it comes, why it is that it's the last thing you do, but the first thing on your business plan, outside of the table of contents and other stuff, of course. But again, I'm having a business plan writing class. It's going to be 6 sessions, 2 hours per session. If you're interested, drop your name below or come back later. I'll have the link below. I'm so sorry I forgot to put the link up. But if you are truly interested in really taking your business to the next level, you need that roadmap to success. And the roadmap to success is through a well-written business plan. All right. Thank you for joining me for Change Agents TV today. And I will see you again next week, Monday. Have a great weekend.